Hello and welcome back to yet another video of me, the talking head, talking in a very dimly lit room about my dimly lit thoughts on the films that I watched in 2025. So without further ado, let's dive into the next video in this series of A-ranked movies, in my estimation. So in this video we've got Nosferatu and Frankenstein, and a local theatre performance shout out for Dracula, and then carrying on that kind of sinister horror theme, I've got 28 Weeks Later, 28 Years Later, Part 1, and Sinners 2025. And then to round it off, we've got Dark City 1998 and The Matrix Revolutions. So, starting with the first one on my list, we've got Nosferatu. So I watched this. This was definitely one of my favourite cinema experiences last year. I remember this vividly and distinctly. I watched it last January 25. I think I watched it on New Year's Day. I think that's when it came out. So I saw it in the evening. I remember it was raining. I went to the cinema, and I think I was in a screen. I think I did have someone next to me that I was talking to, like another random sort of film appreciator, and he and I had a good conversation, talked about films leading up to it. But I remember there was something about being out in the evening when it was dark and raining, watching this film, that really added to like the setup for me mentally going into this film. It starred once again Nicholas Hoult in a leading role. Again, I just enjoy seeing him on screen more and more and more. He was opposite Lily Rose Depp, of daughter to Johnny Depp fame. I thought she was good in this. We've got Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok, who I'm slowly coming to learn plays a lot of monster roles. So there's other things that he's been in I can see that I haven't actually seen, so perhaps I'll watch more of his stuff. We've got Aaron Taylor Johnson in here as Friedrich Harding. I'm sure it was Aaron Taylor Johnson, might have been rumoured for Bond at one point. But yeah, I can remember his character. Willem Dafoe's in this again. Come on, Willem Dafoe's at this point iconic performances, Green Goblin, as well as all the many other roles that he likes to get himself into. Fascinating man, fascinating actor as well. So yeah, good film. I had a really good time with it. What did I give it on my rankings? I gave it an A, solid A. You know, could probably reappropriate it up to maybe about an A plus, but yeah, I had a really good time with this. Again, there's something about that gothic, dreary, after dark, rainy mood going into it, and then going into the film and it being so dark and gothic and creepy and moody and murky that just, yeah, I will remember that hopefully for a very long time, that whole experience of going to see that film and being excited to see the film and get more into Robert Eggers. So yeah, the second one on my list, kind of staying in that kind of type of film, we've got Frankenstein. This is the Guillermo del Toro one. So I watched this last year as well for the first time. Watched on Netflix, rare Netflix watch for me. Yeah, I had a good time with this. Oscar Isaac in the leading role, Jacob Elordi as the creature, Mia Goth as, I believe she was the fiance. Yes. And who else have we got in here? Christoph Waltz, of course. Yes, that was it, Mr. Waltz in here as well. So yeah, good cast. I thought it was a good film. I suppose going into it, and I appreciate there was a Reddit comment that kind of planted this seed in my brain, and it hasn't been able to escape me since, around the sort of use of special effects. I know that Guillermo del Toro is openly sort of against AI use, in a sort of a general sense, in terms of, at least in terms of generative AI, I believe, and also in the use of his post-production special effects work. I know that there's always a degree of special effects work that goes into it, but I'm usually drawn to the idea of a Del Toro film, okay, partly due to the special effects, but mostly due to the practical effects as well. And I thought there was a good use of practical effects in this, but I could see a few comments popping up online, just a little bit disheartened at the use of special effects. So yeah, I'm sort of out the loop on how this film ranks as a Del Toro film in relation to his previous works, i.e. I remember really enjoying Hellboy 1, Hellboy 2, I love Pacific Rim, Pan's Labyrinth I probably saw when I was young, so there are other films in his catalogue that I must go back and watch so I can sort of reappreciate how good they were with their practical effects. But no, I enjoyed this for what it was. I do think I just put it just a step below Nosferatu in terms of my head-to-head here. And then as a bonus throw in, I also went to see Dracula in a local theatre. So I got very lucky to bump into someone who was involved with the local theatre, and I came to learn of performance going on for Dracula. So that's something that's kind of a fond memory I have of last year as well, watching Dracula in a local theatre and support local theatre, which reminds me I must go back again and watch another performance there. But yes, Dracula, Nosferatu, Frankenstein. I must admit, I'm not. I haven't spent as much time with those types of characters over the years, but every time I do, I'm sort of. I feel oddly comforted by them. It's a weird kind of feeling. But yes, so that's it's Nosferatu, Frankenstein, Dracula, and then we have, so staying in the A bracket. So all three of those, by the way, I've given an A, just for the purposes of this ranking system I've devised. 28 weeks later, next I've got ranked at A. Yeah, not quite on the level of 28 days later, which I'd watched. I did a full watch last year in anticipation of 28 years later. So I did 28 days, weeks, years. I haven't seen 28 years later part 2 yet, The Bone Temple, so no spoilers please for that until I've seen that. 28 years later part 1 though. 28 weeks later, so we'll jump between the two. So 28 weeks, so comparing it to 28 days, it's obviously a very different film. 28 years is also a very different film to 28 days. In terms of specifically with 28 weeks, you get a great opening scene in there. See, the thing is, I still really appreciate and enjoyed it. I've given it an A. You know, I think it got maybe a bit of a mixed reception. I think if you go from 28 days and jump into weeks, or maybe it was because, you know, you get like a 5-year wait, you may be waiting for 5 years to get like 28 days later part 2, but 28 weeks later it's directed by a different person, so it does just have a different flavour to it. But what I probably most appreciated about it was, by the end of the film, I realised I was smiling midway through the film because I got the feeling of like watching a Left 4 Dead movie, a game franchise that I've been very fond of over the years. So I kind of think of 28 weeks later as like Left 4 Dead the movie. So that's kind of an angle that helps me appreciate the film. 28 years later, part 1 I've given an A+. This was a cinema experience that probably, actually now sitting here and thinking about it, could be my number 1 cinema experience last year. Like this really resonated with me. Again, quite a different film to 28 days and 28 weeks, but the opening scene with the boots. If you've seen that, like sitting in the cinema listening to that, like I remember I must have been getting shivers down the spine because it was just such a profound experience for me, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching it. I'm sort of in a bit of a limbo of whether I probably will do a rewatch of part 1 before watching part 2, but there's that kind of, because I only saw it last year, it's still quite a vivid memory of the progression of the story, so the memory hasn't faded enough yet maybe for me to reappreciate it, but as much as I'd like to. But yeah, that opening scene with the boots, I was just sort of going, oh my god, this is such a me kind of scene. If I were ever to become a director of film, like having that type of sound and soundtrack to come in that samples from a poem based on, I might get this wrong, but from the Boer War, from the late 19th century. Um, yeah, that was really struck a chord with me and kind of got me locked in for the film. So, also in this bracket we've got Sinners. Sinners. So this was another one, horror. Michael B. Jordan playing twins in this one. Quite a fascinating kind of approach there. I thought the CG on it was good. Performances got Jack O'Connell in there as well, doing the Irish vampire stuff with the song. Again, more singing. There's just something about music in film. Really, I must admit, just always captures my interest and imagination. So, yeah, I recommend this film. It's, I think, even just to see, it's kind of hard to describe what this film is. It's kind of obviously it's fantasy, it's horror, but the setting is really cool. The characterization of I suppose, the ensemble around Michael B. Jordan's twins that he's playing, I thought was really interesting in the barn. Like, as soon as they get to the barn and they're doing the music, I thought, this is cool. But yeah, it's still fundamentally kind of horror-y, so viewer discretion. But glad I watched it. I gave it an A, so there's definitely a step up from a lot of the other films I watched last year. In terms of the three of them side by side, I'd probably take 28 Years Later Part 1. Even though I saw Sinners in the cinema, and that amplified the kind of the musical aspect of the film, I don't know, there's still something about the sense of loss of hope and sense of like just desolate cinematography of 28 Years Later that just really lands with me. I suppose it's more relatable because it's set in the English countryside, right? So that's something that I really was drawn into. But I'm excited for the Bone Temple, and then hopefully we get the third one as well. So the other pair of films I've thrown in this bracket, we've got Dark City 1998. So this is quite an odd film, but quite a sinister kind of neo-noir science fiction film. I was intrigued by this. I had this recommended to me by someone who was sort of a customer in a shop I was working in. Someone whose his background, I think, was with IMDb. I think he said he's posted like 5,000 movie reviews, so it's just been like a power reviewer. So when I heard that, I thought, I better take his recommendation, very seriously. And he recommended Dark City to me, and I'm glad he did, because this is such a bizarre film. We've got Kiefer Sutherland in here. We've got Richard O'Brien, the Richard O'Brien from The Crystal Maze is in this. It's such an odd film. The use of practical effects and the costume design. It's just such an odd little world. It's almost like a dark version of Pleasantville. I've just drummed that up off the cuff, off the top of my head. It's kind of such an odd film. It's almost got elements of Minority Report, elements of Pleasantville. It's just a hard film to describe, but I recommend it if you're looking for a neo-noir science fiction film from the 90s. Check out Dark City. And then also in this bracket I've thrown Matrix Revolutions. So I've given Dark City an A, I've given Matrix Revolutions an A. So the interesting thing with Matrix Revolutions is that so spoiler alert for a future video, The Matrix, the original, that is top of my pyramid for Matrix movies, but Revolutions is a solid second place. Like, it's comfortably second, ahead of Resurrections and Reloaded. I had a really good time with Revolutions. The thing with Revolutions was that really made me go, oh my goodness, this is amazing, was actually when they get to the part with the by this point, I'm over the fact that I'm not getting this kind of loner hacker in the alleyway gets a mysterious phone call and then gets to pick a red or blue pill. I'm over the fact that the film is no longer about that aspect of the first half of The Matrix, and I'm fully on board with the alien invasion stuff, fully on board with the completely over the top science fiction. And honestly, the alien invasion sequences in Matrix Revolutions, it's It's got like elements of like District 9 maybe in there with like some Pacific Rim. There's stuff they're doing in there with maybe like Live Die Repeat as well, Edge of Tomorrow, in terms of just like these big, it's like humans last stand against aliens, and I love seeing creative ways of delivering that are sort of militarized. And it actually ended up making me think of Halo. So like Halo, I mean, take your pick really, any of the Halos, but yeah, Matrix Revolutions really made me think strongly about Halo, and Halo being a franchise that's very near and dear to my heart in terms of games. Um, yeah, Matrix Revolutions. If you want to see what live action Halo could look like, check out Matrix Revolutions and go into it thinking, what if Halo did something like this? You know, I think it'd be really, really cool. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there as well. But yeah, that closes off all this bracket. I've given Matrix Revolutions the win against Dark City. I've given them both an A. But yeah, I had a really good time. All the films in this bracket, like, turns out I love me some dark sci-fi, and I love me some sort of horror apparently as well, especially when it comes down to like zombies, according to this. Zombies and vampires and Draculas and Frankensteins and you name it. Apparently that's all about all what I'm about. But yeah, I had a good time with all these films. Thank you for watching, listening, and hope to see you in the next chapter. Until then, farewell.